Absolute disaster for Ferrari this weekend. Starting the race second and fourth and fifth and eighth. I mean, that's a goddamn embarrassment. Cooking the tires. It looked like that was, maybe not going to be as much the case with the upgrade that they did with the wheel rims and the way things look in Barcelona. But wow, what a absolute! You can forget that title talk that everyone was getting all hooting caboodled about after the win at Barcelona with Lewis, and you could pump that shit and pump that shit because that shit's done.
Welcome to the Paddock F1 with Greeny and the cheese. We're caffeinated, we're medicated. It's a podcast by fans for fans. Your dose of F1 news. All the races, all the tracks, and all the drama. Coming up on today's show.
Yes. That's how many time in the Paddock F1. Gritty and the cheese. Thank you for listening, tuning in. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe and like button. Help us out here at the channel. But round 8, the 2026 F1 takes us the traveling circus known as Formula One, to where the hills are alive. But it's not for the sound of music this week, boys and girls. Oh, no. It's the sound of turbo-powered V8 engines. We're back in those Austrian Alps in Syria. For the Austrian Grand Prix, the Styria region of Austria is known for its wine, spas, castles, the birthplace of Schwarzenegger. But this ain't no travel show. This is an F1 show. We are racing the Red Bull Ring, 2.68 miles, 10 corners. Well, it's really like 7, to be honest. You give it the full beans for, 72% of your lap, I guess, under these new regs. But what a race we got. The Red Bull Ring never seems to disappoint. I got to tell you that. Since we've gone back to the ring, never seems to disappoint. The heat dome was over Europe, so it was freaking hot. Cooking the tires. It went from a usual 1-stop to a 2-stop. Russell was on pole, got pole, had to be the lap of his life because he had to let off because of a yellow and still took pole, which was absolutely ridiculous. But he took the lead in the turn 1 and basically with the little strategies holding his way, held off Max, hard charging at the end there to take second. Kimi even coming charter to take third. The top 3 were under 2 seconds apart. So it's a damn close race this weekend. We are caffeinated. We are medicated. Lots to unpack. Greeny, good day, sir.
Good day to you, sir. What a race. I think the one thing that we know we can expect is chaos. The one thing you could probably guarantee, and chaos is fun. The 23rd driver, right, on the track. In the Paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese, thanks for joining us. I think George Russell is back, and leaping ahead solidly in second in the standings. Kimi finishing third, but felt like a way behind third. Definitely not his best weekend for sure after being the favorite going into the weekend. And is this putting George Russell and Kimi Antonelli in a situation where we're going to have a competitive fall? It seems that's what we always hope for, of course. But that's where we're at, man. And it's just creating an exciting down the stretch. We hope to have an excitement down the stretch with these two Mercedes drivers. But Max Verstappen smashing out, not just crashing out, but smashing out in quali and coming back, finishing second, having an extraordinary pace. Red Bull, both Red Bulls. What a race indeed. And one thing I noticed was definitely, the up and down. We had the heat, but it's the thin air up in the mountains there in Austria. You always get that thin air. So we wanted to see how cars were performing, and seemed like they were struggling, especially up the hills at times, a little more. We had a lot. I think that created a lot more wheel-to-wheel action, which we always want. But I don't know, Cheese. Your thoughts on the the Russell comeback? Is this going to be sustainable? Is he just going to take off with it? Is it going to be Kimi coming back here and maybe this is a Russell fluke? Did Ferrari shit the bed? We're getting to all of that. Come on. What do you got?
Merck was back on top. They pretty much were dominating most of the weekend from start to finish, pace-wise. So Antonelli definitely made some mistakes there, definitely, especially on the opening lap going off the track in turn 1 and, turn 3. Definitely cost them something there at the start to then jump ahead to get, behind Max instead of ahead of Max at that point. Mercedes still has lots of upgrades to come yet compared to all the other teams as well. So, and they're still figuring out the current one. Definitely nice to see that they got both cars across the finish. So the work that they've been doing to try and keep with the reliability definitely worked. But is this going to be Russell's comeback? I mean, we'll see. Time will tell. Could this bad race for just Antonelli making a couple mistakes, and definitely both cars were on a different tire strategy as well. I think they're trying different things there. I mean, Antonelli was flying at the end of the race. Absolutely. If there was another lap or two, he definitely gets Max for sure. And possibly even Russell, because not like they were that far behind Russell either. So Max was like 1.7 behind Russell at the end of the race anyway. So
top 8 finished 40 seconds in between each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kimi could have definitely taken it if it wasn't for him having a really just rough start. Definitely making some mental errors. I think you would say something we've talked about for weeks now. That at some point
last year had a little bit to play into that too, because if you remember last year, he barreled into Max going into 3 on the opening lap last year and took them both out of the race, if you remember that. So, I mean, sure, that probably had something in the back of his mind that helped play with that a bit. But some of those spots, he was just went flat off the track before even getting to the corner. So he bailed out. But I mean, I think he even said it post-race. He had a couple little errors there, but he was, pretty much right there on pace with Russell for most of the race. So, Antonelli still got the lead in the championship, but it's definitely going to give Russell momentum, especially, heading to his home Grand Prix at Silverstone next weekend too. I don't know if it's just me or I don't know if it's me, but there's something. I just hate George Russell for some reason. I just hate him. I don't know why. I don't know why. Something about him, I just don't like him.
Someone put up a meme of George Russell if he looked like Woody from Toy Story. And I'm like, yeah, he does. So how do you not like Woody, though? Yeah, George Russell could definitely be an unlikable character, that's for sure. He's got those eyes. Those dead toy eyes. For sure. For sure. But listen, he's got a shot at winning. That's why he's at Mercedes. That's why, and Kimi as well. That's why Lewis Hamilton's not there, because they thought George and Kimi were going to be the pair, and they are. And they are. They're putting the silver arrows back on in 1-2 situations. Like you said, Kimi came on strong at the end. Could have passed Max if this was a 73 or 74 lap race. Could have passed George if it was a 75 lap race, but it's not. And if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, it would be a Merry Christmas for Kimi Antonelli. That's for damn sure. But it wasn't. And but it could have been a silver arrow 1-2. Absolutely. Like back in the day. Mercedes is most likely going to take the constructors after a long absence, after their 8-year reign from years ago. And it doesn't look like Red Bull, Ferrari, or McLaren are in any position, even if Mercedes isn't as peak or finishing 1-2, but it doesn't look like they're in any position to challenge for the constructors. That's for damn sure. And, you know, I think any hope of Lewis Hamilton winning a title this year or even finishing top 3 is also fading quickly, with a Max Verstappen and Red Bull upgrade looking pretty damn good. Again, Max kind of owns this track, as we know, and he showed it this weekend after crashing out and then finishing second. So who knows? Who knows? But that's all I got, dude. We got a lot more to talk about, though. We got Ferrari, a lot more Ferrari to talk about. We got fire. We got the heat in Europe and cars on fire. A lot of cars on fire. But
Cars on fire. That's what happens when it's that damn hot and you're up in the thin air. Things get hot a lot quicker.
any final thoughts on the race before we go into Quizmaster's cockpit as we strap on our helmet?
I mean, Russell needed the win. He needed that bad. He needed that bad to get his confidence back because he had been having a rough go at it of recent. So he needed it for himself to keep himself in the title run. So, but Antonelli still has that lead. I think he still got like a
40-point
or so lead at the top, something like that.
Big lead,
so,
but with a sprint race. Listen, if George takes the sprint and the GP next week, we're talking a totally different game. If Kimi does the same, we're talking a totally different game. You know, there's a lot of points on the board next weekend at in the UK, and anything can happen. And if anyone can double, if you can take the sprint and the GP, and you don't have the same 2-3, or if you have a tricolor podium for both and you take both, there's a lot of points on the board, and a lot could change in these sprint weekends, especially when you have one driver taking both. And if that's Kimi, that could be, he can really put distance. And if it's not, then it makes it for a very interesting rest of time here before the summer break. That's for damn sure. Are you ready, sir, to throw questions at me, to try to stump me and embarrass me and get things wrong? Or are you going to tell me you got cupcakes and then I screw the cupcakes up? Or are you going to say it's tough and I get it right? Who the hell knows what's going to happen? It's the 190th or something edition here of Quizmaster's Cockpit. What you got?
All right, sir. All right, here we go. Question number 1. Who has the most wins at the Austrian Grand Prix?
I believe it's Max Verstappen, aforementioned.
That is correct, sir. He has 4 wins. That is the most.
One of them was at the Styrian.
Yeah, but it's the same.
It's the same thing. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. All right.
All right, here we go. Question number 2, sir. What was the Red Bull Ring called before it was renamed in 2011?
It was the Austrian Ring.
Actually, it was the A1 Ring.
Or the A1 Ring.
But I will give you credit on that one for going back to the old name. I will give you credit for that one. I didn't think you'd get that shit, so we're gonna give
that was
it to
back
you.
in the day. That's the
That was
proper
back in
name.
the day.
That's
That
the
was
proper
back in the
name for
day.
the track.
That is the proper name. But I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you on that one. Question number 3, sir.
Wait, hold on. Listen. Hold on. I got a mess over here in my hands. We got question number 3, and the only thing that matters for question number 3. use a cup. Because we got to sweat. Because I did get the first two correct.
That is correct. Tough one. The repeat question from last year's question number 3 as well. And you got this incorrect.
Jeez.
So here we go, question number 3.
Extra sweat.
What circuits on the current F1 calendar are shorter in length than the Red Bull Ring? There's actually 4. Believe it or not. What tracks are shorter in distance than the Red Bull Ring? There's 4.
I'm sure.
Two are pretty easy. 3 and 4 are kind of tough.
I could just throw out track names here, but I'm not going to waste anyone's time just throwing out track names. Number 1, I got to slap myself because I should definitely know better than to at least just go back to like last year's, just to give it a little listen, just to give it a little peek. And see what I got wrong. Just give me the 4 so I don't embarrass myself here. And
We're not even going to take a stab at it.
I'm not gonna get all 4 of them.
All right. I think that's the first time you've ever given up on a question.
I'm just giving
Not
up.
Even tried.
I'm just giving up.
That's
I'm
kind of embarrassing.
I told you going in, I'm going to embarrass myself. And
all right. So the 4, of course, Monaco, Zandvoort, Mexico City, and Brazil are all shorter track-wise than the Red Bull Ring.
should have known most of those. Mexico, I didn't. That's a good one. Brazil, for sure. Obviously, Monaco. No, listen. Sometimes we go through life and we gather information constantly, right? But every once in a while, we need to sit back and not just gather information, but absorb wisdom. And you just dropped wisdom, which is very important. But of course, with wisdom comes winners and losers. And because I'm a loser, we're going to go right into losers. And we got a bunch this week. Speaking of fires.
Cadillac, I mean, having both cars out within the first couple laps because your brakes are on fire. I mean, that's an embarrassment, to be honest. I know it was super hot and stuff, but come on, it's not good. Williams, again, Sainz doesn't finish. Albon 17th, another awful race. I mean, when is Williams ever going to improve? Or are they just going to be back of the grid team for the rest of eternity? And that those old glory days are long gone. I mean, they are just in a bad spell. Your boy James, I don't know what's going on. I don't think he knows what's going on. Maybe that might be part of the problem. Those are my losers.
I don't know what the hell's going on with Williams. It's getting more and more embarrassing. It really is. Like, at least sometimes they would get some points, but it just consistently. I don't even know what to say about Williams anymore. listen, not a great week for a lot of teams on the other side, but of course we're going to talk about Haas, Aston Martin. You mentioned Alpine. All those teams just not coming through at all this weekend, and it was obvious. Just obvious how Esteban Ocon was just a mess in the second half when he was looking at potential points early on, and Ollie Bearman was just feels like taking steps backwards this season and not forwards as we thought, as we all got this Bearman hype, and he's just not coming through and not delivering. It seems, I don't know if it's technical on the technical side of Haas. That's coupled, but I think there's definitely some confidence issues there.
Something.
Aston Martin's the biggest mess I've ever seen. They're just as bad as Williams.
Yeah.
Williams, Aston Martin, and Cadillac. You could put them on Haas. All four of those teams. Alpine's got a little bit going for them. They should be a little more competitive with points. I got to give them some credit as they've been competitive. But those bottom four teams are all they're like racing to be the worst right now. So you could put all four of those teams in losers. You could take your pick. They're all trying to suck. And it's like they're not trying. The drivers seem to have no confidence. Mechanical issues every single week. And if it's not mechanical issues, it's driver error. Basket of losers. All four of those teams. I don't think you disagree at all.
No, I really can't.
Especially with Haas and Williams, we're supposed to be competing in that 5-6 spot.
Fifth. Yeah.
They're not gonna be. Neither of those teams are gonna be in 5-6.
No, at this point,
it's gonna be Racing Bull and Alpine. Most likely, even Audi's looking better. Even Audi's got more of a chance to finish 6th at the moment. Especially heading to
mess themselves too. So, but yeah,
let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, when they finish a race, they usually don't do too bad, Audi. But that's another problem they have, is that they don't finish a lot of races recently. So, let's move on to winners. Racing Bulls, double top 10 again. I mean, 9th, 10th, solid again. Consistently now, it seems almost that they're going to be the points. And, Lawson finishing, what was it, lap like 5 or 6? He was like, I got a lot of smoke in the car.
Yeah, he was on fire too, apparently. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. He said he's on fire, and then...
Yeah, and then he races the whole rest of the race, so...
Maybe he meant that he was bound for points. Maybe that was a gambling shout-out. Put your money down on me. I'm on fire. Like old school NBA Jam on fire versus like Cadillac on fire.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Oscar Piastri quietly gets 4th. Quietly takes 4th. I think Stella came out this week and said McLaren's probably 3 months behind on their upgrades right now. So where they want to be. So that's not something you want to hear either. But solidly takes 4th. Good points for McLaren. Definitely struggling a bit because they are behind on their upgrades right now. But when they do bring them, it definitely seems to work recently as well. So. But work to do, but a 4th place definitely gives them a little bit of momentum. So those will be my winners.
Yeah, Oscar Piastri, I had him as well on my board, but you got to go top 6, Isaac Hadjar. I said before the season that he is looking like one of the guys that could finish in the top 6. and overall points, and he's doing it
Might
here.
break
Obviously,
the curse of the second Red Bull seat.
can he defeat? He's got a long way to go. Let's pump the brakes on that. He's got a long way to go, but definitely a good showing with 6, especially with the Ferrari hunt, which we'll get to in a moment. You mentioned Racing Bulls in there as well, and but pretty much mentioned everyone we possibly could, and we'll get to our other friends in a minute. But listen, I'll stick with Red Bull, and I'll go with the other Red Bull driver, Max Verstappen. We mentioned him a bunch of times throughout the show, but I think Racing Bulls and Red Bull have made a massive turnaround here. They were looking dead in the water after all the frontline changes, after all the back end changes, after front office, guru after guru after guru leaving Red Bull quote unquote dead in the water, and they have 4 of the 6 drivers in the points are from the Red Bull team. Right, and we're seeing that it feels like more and more, and we could see a lot more points from these 2 teams, the main team and the junior team. Arvid Lindblad, as you mentioned, just looking better and better. It's hard to imagine he's 18 years old, and so you got to give it up to the whole team. Losing Christian Horner in that whole debacle, just and so many Newey and just so many faces and personalities that just left behind the scenes that you really just thought this team was not going to pull it together. And I think they're surprising a lot of people. Give it up for the whole Red Bull franchise over there. And that leads us, of course, into...
I need to slap my goddamn for that.
Slap of the week, sir. And we didn't mention a certain team very much. And there's a reason for that. So are you going to powder up your hands here, or is it going to be on me?
I think we're both probably going to. I mean, absolute disaster for Ferrari this weekend. Starting the race 2nd and 4th and 5th and 8th. I mean, that's a goddamn embarrassment. Cooking the tires. It looked like that was, maybe not going to be as much the case with the upgrade that they did with the wheel rims and the way things look in Barcelona. But wow, what a absolute! You can forget that title talk that everyone was getting all hooting caboodled about after the win at Barcelona with Lewis, and you could pump that shit and pump that shit because that's just done. That's just done after that performance. That's shit show and a dumpster fire performance. Think of this one too. They brought a shit ton of upgrades already. And we're what, round 8? There's a cross cap in Formula 1 now. So you got to be coming up, kind of getting close to that line already. So you're going to get to that, you're not going to be able to bring any more upgrades. And not all the upgrades have been firing at all cylinders either. So that title talk, I said it last week. Said pump the freaking brakes on that shit, because that's just one freaking race. Let's goddamn pump the brakes. It's definitely not a title challenge. If you're gonna go from what you did in Barcelona to this performance, that's a freaking joke.
Yeah. You were just going to put them as losers, but I said we got to turn it up a little bit. That deserves a slap, especially coming after. Normally, that would be just a plain losers. Last year, that might have even been a winner. Let's be honest, a 5th and 8th. Yeah. But this year, we are expecting top 4 every single week for these guys if they want to compete, and especially for potential constructors. But that is out the window. But we can always go to our happy place, Cheese.
Oh yes. Best damn sound of the week. Time to take that fantasy ride to that fantasy island of Greentopia. Well, the beer flows like wine, the wine flows like beer, and that cannabis, oh yes, my friends, that cannabis. It grows as far as the eyes can see, Look at it out there. Green and luscious. Take a little whiff. Whew. Ooh, yeah. A little sweet in the air this week. But that air smells fantastic. So take a little walk to the top of the hill, casino top. Just like Monaco, baby. Are we cashing in or are we checking out? I know I didn't do too shabby.
Did not do too shabby. I'm sorry, I was bringing that up and then I got distracted because I'm easily distracted, Chaz. All right. Well, listen, speaking of going back to the slab, you did have Ferrari double podium. That was wishful thinking. That didn't happen. But you also had Max Verstappen making the podium, plus 350.
Mm-hmm.
People didn't think that was going to happen. At plus 350, that was a nice fat number for you there. Yeah, George Russell winning, plus 150. You got that. And you had Lewis Hamilton for the win. So you were licking your chops from last week. That was for damn sure, based on where you put your money. And whenever you put your money on Ferrari, you know what happens. We could go back to the other 150 times we did this. And you know, when you get all pumped up about Ferrari, you got double podiums, and Lewis winning, or whatever you got over the years.
Why not throw a little flyer down? He's starting fourth. You didn't know that was going to be an absolute shit show that it ended up being in the Grand Prix. After quali, you said, all right, he gets up there, something happens, a little strategy, safety car, something like that. You could see him winning, and what was it? A plus like 450. It was worth a throwdown. I mean, it's worth a throwdown to throw 50 on Max podium at plus 350. That bad boy paid off. So it was betting a little number that they had there. It was throwing a little number. We had a number, little, you take a little chance. I got 2 out of 4.
I'm just busting your yam bags because you got
You did not have
because you're picking Ferrari. It's the homer. It's the homer.
Yeah.
That's why. Speaking of homers, I had Ollie Bearman top 10. That did not happen. Plus 225.
No.
Kimi Antonelli for the win. Plus 200. That didn't happen.
No.
McLaren double top 6. Lando finishes 7th, so that didn't happen. Red Bull double top 6. That did happen. Plus 275. So that did save my ass a little bit. Negative 75 on the day for me because I did make 6 bets. Then I had Antonelli, Russell, and Leclerc. I was feeling a little bit of the mojo there, the Ferrari magic as well, putting Leclerc box and straight. Lost both of those, obviously, because my man finished in 8th, and I took a 75-point hit. You did not take a 75-point hit, but you ended up 175. You bet 200. You won 175 for 75. All right. So you're up like 200? Plus 200 for you. Negative 75 for me. So give yourself a round of applause, sir. Stretching out whatever couple of points I got back the last couple weeks. I'll give you an update in a little bit on that. So that, of course, leads us into the final segment of the program this week. And that is, of course, in the news. In the news, let's get some news, sir. What's going on?
Well, a couple things we got for you here. Ferrari got more bad news as well. With the pioneered invention, they found the loophole in the regulations for the exhaust pipe wing. That has now been made illegal for 2027 with a little reg change by the FIA. So some more bad news for Ferrari. So that keeps piling on for the weekend. Gippy do Kaye on that. Total Wolf says Merc doesn't need Max with Kimi and George. He likes the lineup he has. Got a little something to say on that one? Or no?
Why wouldn't you like the
No
lineup you
comment.
have? They're winning. They're winning. They're going to probably finish 1-2 at the end of the season. So how do you replace you when you got 1-2, unless one of the drivers actively wants to leave, or you have a younger replacement, but you got two young guys. Yeah, why are you looking at Max Verstappen? Honestly, and Red Bull's looking, like I said, better and better. And Max Verstappen also has at Red Bull the ability to throw his weight around, I would say, potentially a little more than he would have at Mercedes. You're going against Toto Wolff and a personality like that versus a new regime at Red Bull. It seems like things are paying off. Obviously, as I mentioned before, patience brings clarity. A little bit of patience here did pay off for Red Bull after everything that's gone on for the last 18 months or so with all the changes. And I think Max he's the best opportunity he can have to both financially and physically put himself in a position, right? Michael Schumacher had a lot more power being with Ferrari than he would anywhere else. Lewis Hamilton, vice versa, we've seen the frustration leaving Mercedes, where he was king at Merc, to go to Ferrari, and he is restricted in certain areas where he may not have been restricted with Mercedes as far as his voice, right? I think you could agree to that it definitely lessened his voice to go to Ferrari than staying at where he's won so many times. And it's just the way it is. It's the way it is in sports. It's the way it is in anything. You were the guy who brought home the bacon for all those years. You were the guy paying the bills for all those years with some company. And you forget, we see the tens or dozens of people, even if you're the biggest Formula One fan, you see dozens of people. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people making all these institutions and programs work. That the trickle down is massive. The guy mopping the floor that has been working at Red Bull for the last 20 years, at their HQ, that Max Verstappen has passed 100 times, that has given him a high five, that you have no idea who they are. Only he does, right? And those are the power, that the little tiny things, the security guards and the building, right? At Milton, the all those little things, that adds up. And you lose that when you go to a new place. So that's all I got to say about that. Max isn't going anywhere. The Merc guys aren't going anywhere, at least for the next foreseeable future.
All right, we got the FIA has voted to end term limits for his president, ending Mohammed bin Salman to extend his role or extend his term past the 12-year term limit. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Corruption is what corruption does. Just make the rules up as you go. Just do whatever you want. Make the rules up as you go. The person in power gets to make the rules. I mean, we're not talking about like the president of the free world here. And if everyone's making money and everyone's happy, then everyone's making money and everyone's happy. And when they're not, they'll get someone else to be in there. That's it.
Yeah.
It gives them the freedom to do whatever they want. And within reason, the team ownerships, the individual team ownerships, like what he's doing, and they're going to keep him in there until they don't, until some scandal comes down with who the hell knows what could happen. Who knows what island he can end up on. But until then, as long as he's making everyone money,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Show me the money. What else you got?
That's it. That's all I got.
I'll end with rumors, as apparently after the race today, after the disaster today, Cadillac is apparently pissed as hell. Again, the race just ended about an hour ago, but the word is that Cadillac is already saying, no reason to have Bottas back for sure next year and looking at a younger option.
Not shocked by that.
It makes sense. So we'll see what happens
had
there,
been
and that could be
rumored,
announced before the summer break, even the next few weeks here. And apparently, speaking of pissed as hell, Flavio is also pissed as hell, not happy with everything going on at Alpine, and the Alpine management thinks they should be definitely slotted in there in that fifth best team or higher in the mid-pack, and they are not performing. So a lot going on in the paddock after the race today. We'll see what brews up for that. But we have another race coming up next week, Cheese. Where are we heading next?
Going to the home of Formula One. We're going to Silverstone, baby. Back to where it all began.
Where the first race began.
Sprint weekend as well, so a lot of points. A lot of points up for grabs.
Say what you got to say, brother?
Always exciting. As always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Catch you guys next week. As always, stay medicated, my friends.
Peace.
With Greeny and the cheese. Coming live from the US of A. Podcast groove. The boys bring you the F1 news. Everything you need, so you know just what to do. And it's all alright. 'Cause they do it right. In the paddock with Greeny and the cheese. In the paddock with Greeny and the cheese. In the paddock with Greeny and the cheese. Ferrari's gonna drive you crazy. Mad Max, he's so amazing. McLaren, Merc, and more. In the paddock with Greeny and the cheese. And they know their way around the track. When you need the facts, you can trust them. They won't steer you wrong. Always right on time. They know their way around a microphone. And it's all right. 'Cause they do it right. In the paddock with Greeny and the cheese.